Hi everyone, thank you so much for tuning in. I know you're having a good time. From my hat, I think you have been able to guess the topic of the day, so there are no goodies for that. We are going to talk about witches. Yes, witches. Since my childhood days, the stories of Hansel and Gretel and Snow White, the witches there have played their wickedness well and scared the hell out of me to force me to sleep next to my mother. It was not until I went to Spain where I realized that witches were considered actually very lucky. People gifted each other witches over there. I have few to show you. This is Bruja Estudiante. You gift it to your friend if you want your friend to get 100 marks in maths. Yes, then you go and gift your friend this Bruja de Estudiante. I have another witch here. This is Bruja del Amor. This witch you go and gift somebody if you want that person to fall in love with you. Yes, I think it's so easy to find a boyfriend in Spain or a girlfriend in Spain because then you can go and just gift this witch there and she'll do her magic. Then we have Bruja de la Suerte. This witch you go and give somebody if you want somebody to have good luck. So you go and give this witch to that person. So today's program, I thought I'll be dividing it into various parts. First, I'll tell you what is a witch, the types of witches we have, and then we'll be meeting a real life witch, yes, a real witch in New Delhi, and then I'll tell you how the term witch was coined. Then I'll even tell you my personal encounter with the witch in Mexico and my conclusion. So let us start. What is a witch? The word witch is generally used as an insulting word. Or, from Wicca, it is a way of life. Even we term it as something which is self-empowering. In history, there have been more than 16 types of witches. Oof! But today we are just going to talk about 4 main types of witches. The first type of witch is the satanic or the biblical witch. She draws her energies from her sexual encounters with the devil. The second type of witch is the sword or the shield witch, which we have seen in the movies like The Lord of the Rings. Where she draws her powers is not really known. Then we have the third type of witch, that is the normal pagan witch, that is the natural witch which we see. She draws her power from nature, from earth. She uses bodily liquids, tarot cards, candles. And last, we have the generic witch, which we have seen in the stories of Snow White and Hansel and Gretel. Generally, her powers are transferred from one generation to the other. Yeah guys, so I'm in conversation with Dr. Madhu Kotiya. Her witch name is Shazam. So hi doctor, how are you? My first question is, I hope that you don't get offended when I call you a witch.
That's fine. Everybody calls us a witch. There was a time in past when we were used to be called as wise woman because we were healers. But then everybody used to go to the wise woman and get healed, so they stopped going to the church, they stopped going to the religious places, and these religious priests got very, very scared of us, and at that time they started saying wrong things about us, and they started calling us witches, and they started saying that we kill the children and all that, and at that time they burnt so many witches. You must be knowing about it.
Yes.
So from that time people started calling us witch, otherwise we were the wise woman.
Okay. Ma'am, I want to know that, if nature doesn't want to give us a particular thing, like a particular job or a particular lover or a particular thing, then you cast your spells and you do your magic and you bring that particular thing in the life of a person. So do you go against nature?
See, nobody can go against the nature. Nature is the God. Nature is the supreme power. It's a misunderstanding that people say that we go against the nature. No. Before we cast the spell, we check it. If there is a probability that the person has 10% chances of getting this and 90% negative, then those 10% chances we increase them to 80%, 90% or sometimes 100%. But if there is zero chance, then no spell can work. So it is also said, in India people don't know much about it, but in Western countries people know that witches don't cast all the spells. They choose which spell is to be casted, and we pray to the nature, we We try to help create good nature, good weather, good plants. We do not go against the nature.
People have got this concept which is a negative energy. So how different is Wicca from Tantra or black magic, you will say?
Well, people don't have a clarity about energies. When we say energy is not negative, energy is not positive. The intention is negative or positive. So when we say witch is a person who has all the knowledge about the energies, and that person can use it in a positive or in a negative way. So when we say witch doesn't have rules. Might not follow the cause and effect rule. So which can be negative, which can be positive, or which can be neutral. And when we say tantra, the same thing goes to the tantra also. There are people who are using tantra for positivity, for healing, and there are people, most of the people, who are using tantra in a negative way. That is why tantra is being treated as a fearful thing in India. So when we say Wicca is different from witchcraft, or from being a witch. A Wiccan witch is very different, because the Wiccans, they follow the cause and effect. We say that whatever we do, it comes back to us 3 times, and we do not interfere in the free will of a person. So that is how the Wiccans are completely white. All people who are following Wicca, they will only be doing good things, and they will not harm anybody. So this is the difference between a normal witch and a Wiccan witch.
Ma'am, are there negative energies in Wicca that can harm somebody?
Now we come to the same thing, the negative energies. There are no negative energies. There are energies, there are powerful energies, and how we use them. Like people get to know about many tantrics. They are using, they are said the tantrics of Kali Mata. So when we say Kali Mata, so Kali Mata is basically a mother. She is a goddess. But those tantrics are using that power for negativity. Right, so basically the goddess is not negative, but that person is negative who is creating the negativity. So in Wicca there are no negative energies, because there are no negative intentions. We only use all the energies for positive things, for healing things. We heal Mother Earth, we heal the weather, we heal people, we heal animals also.
Ma'am, I have another question for you. What is the concept of reincarnation in Wicca? That when a witch dies, will she be reincarnated as a witch, or in which form will she come? What is the whole concept of reincarnation here?
See, the reincarnation concept is almost like Hinduism, almost like the books of reincarnation says. Like we 100% believe in reincarnation, because the soul never dies, only the body dies. So when a witch dies, we don't say it is a death, we say that she is going to get transformed into something new. Now we can't say that a witch will be born as a witch again, but there are strong chances that the witch gets into a family where there are a lot of energy work being done. If not witch, she can be a pujari, she can be a priest, she can be a healer, or maybe sometimes a doctor, a medical doctor also. But they are mostly into the things which will help humanity.
Ma'am, any experience which you have had which is very, very profound, which you want to share with the people, when you realized that you had some divine presence or something within which was not normal, which people have, something which you want to share with us, where this whole journey started?
Well, my soul journey started at a very early age, at the age of 8 when I was a child, and I basically was not a normal, I would say not a normal child, because my behavior was very different, and I used to read a lot of books, all the religious and spiritual books available in the family, because my family belongs to the Radha Swami cult, and they have a lot of spiritual books. And at the age of 8, I realized that I can see those energies, which are basically not visible to a normal person. So at that age, I realized that I'm talking to people who are not visible to the to my mom, to my father. I realized that I can actually, when I am praying, I can see the energies coming and standing in front of me. So that was the time when I realized there is something different about me, there is something different about the world which people can't see.
Well, in Wicca, do you pray to any visible god, or it's just nature, the forces of nature, or do you have any visible form god, like in the form of a statue or a photograph or something like that? So,
see, there are many kind of paths in Wicca people follow. There are people who follow the statue prayers. There are many gods and goddesses, and there are no fixed gods and goddesses. Like a Wiccan can pray to a Hindu god, Wiccan can pray to an Egyptian god. They can choose their god and goddesses. And there are some Wiccans who only believe in the supreme power. They believe in the masculine supreme power and the feminine supreme power. They call it god and goddess, and they only believe in that. So basically there can be gods and goddesses, or there can be only two powers.
Ma'am, anything which you want to tell my viewers, which people have a misconception about witches, that witches are only going to harm, or they only bring in the magic spell, like the stories of Snow White where they are portrayed in a very different way? Anything which you want to tell my viewers, that the misconception that what is a witch is broken, that I will, for example, if somebody is scared coming to you that she's a witch, so what would you tell that person?
Well, I keep experiencing that when people get scared of me because I'm a witch, and they think that, I'll be doing only the negative things. But people needs to understand that, everyone has a consciousness within them. And whenever we meet somebody, it is your inner self which tells you that this person is good or not. And when believe me, when you sit with a Wiccan witch, you will only get the positive vibes. And this is what happens. People come with a lot of negative thought processes about me, but when they sit here and when they feel the energy and when they talk to me, they get to know that this is a healer and this is a positive energy. So witch is basically not a right word for us, but then because everyone knows us as a witch, so you need to understand that witches are healers. Nothing lesser than that, and nothing wrong in that.
Ma'am, thank you so much. I think your answers have broken a lot of misconceptions that people have about witches, and that it is a negative term. I think the whole concept of witches now with your answers, will put people to think again what is a witch. Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you so much. In history, how the term witch was coined. Across the globe, women are called witches, with their main accusation that they were in agreement with the devil to do bad things. The truth is that those women did not have any kind of supernatural powers. They were objects which could be overpowered by the stronger sex, that is the male. Indeed, the witch represents the dark side of the female presence. History tells those which we consider witches were naturally healers. In many ancient civilizations, not only worshipped powerful female deities, but it was often women who practiced the holiest of rituals. These priestesses were called as wise women, and may have been some of the earliest manifestations of what we now recognize as the witch. These wise women made house calls, delivered babies, dealt with topics of infertility. Centuries later, this fear of witches spread to Europe. In order to save the church and its followers, these women had to be tamed. It is with that in mind that the Catholic Church inquisitors Jacob Springer and Hendrik Kramer wrote the Malleus Maleficarum, a book which assisted witch hunters in the gruesome task of diagnosing and punishing the so-called witches. At that time, the Malleus Maleficarum was second to the Bible in terms of popularity. So I'll be telling you about my personal encounter with a witch. It was in one of those days when I was in Mexico, where my friend wanted to go to the Mercado Sonora. Now, what is Mercado Sonora? Mercado Sonora is actually the witch market in Mexico, where you can get all the weirdest things one can ever imagine. A monkey's tongue, a snake's head. All these things are used for witchcraft. And in every nook and corner, there's a witch doctor. So my friend had accompanied her aunt to this market, and I was just a silent companion along. And when I went there, I was feeling that uneasiness in that market. My friend and her aunt entered a shop, and the lady there was so-called the witch doctor or the witch. She casted a few spells. She took some rice in her hand, and then she did some magic and casted her spells on the auntie. The auntie narrated to her that she had a problem because she was listening to some voices, unknown voices in her ears. And then that lady, the witch doctor, took her 2 fingers and pressed them deep in her stomach. In a few seconds, the auntie fainted. She was giving out some frothy liquid from her mouth. I really don't know what was happening there, because the whole atmosphere was so tense. The room was a very small room full of skeletons. In one corner, they had the Santa de la Muerte, that is actually the goddess of death, which is nothing but a skeleton robed into a robe and holding a globe in one hand and the scythe in the other. For people who don't know what's a scythe, it's a stick with a blade. She was holding it in the other hand. And the way she was casting her spells, and her eyes were closed, and it was so scary. I felt that uneasiness in that room. I don't know, there was so much negativity in that room that I literally started sweating. And after a few minutes, when the auntie did gain consciousness after a few minutes, and we decided to leave, the lady stopped me and she said, here is a bottly liquid. So I said, what is this for? So she said, this is for good luck. And she gave me rice and salt, the 2 patent things of the witch. And then she told me that if you have any problem, you can come back to me. And I was looking at her face and I said, perhaps never, because from what I really saw. And then when I was about to leave, I asked her, do you really believe that your casts and spells and this magic works? So she said, it's magic. If you believe it, it works. So I was so confused. When I came out, I threw the salt and the rice. You never know, just in case her magic may work. But there was, yes, I have experienced that negative energy. I really don't know if it was more psychological or what was working in that room, but there was something which was very airy and unnatural in that room. Isn't it so strange that in my conclusion I have to say, the same woman becomes the goddess for you and the same woman becomes a witch for you. Magic is, if you believe, it works. But why can't we believe in our own selves and have that confidence in our own selves, rather than going to witches or tantrics and wanting them to cast the spells on us? I think if we have that confidence in us, we would neither need a witch nor a tantric. For me, I have still not been able to answer that really witches exist, because in Spain they are very lucky, in India they are not so lucky. So what is a witch? For me, she's just a woman and nothing more than that. Thank you. And yes, you need to subscribe and do tune into my next show, where we will be encountering I really don't know what. So yeah, thank you so much for listening. Tata, bye bye, take care.